Your phone vibrates. It's just one message. You open it. Okay. One word. Suddenly, your mind starts racing. Why did they only say okay? Are they mad at me? Did I say something wrong? Why did they reply so fast yesterday but take 5 hours today? Without realizing it, you've already created 10 different stories from a single text. And the strangest part? Most of those stories aren't real. So why does your brain treat every message like it's a puzzle that must be solved? Why can one delayed reply ruin your entire day? And why do some people seem completely unaffected, while others can't stop checking their phones every 5 minutes? The answer has less to do with texting and everything to do with how your brain handles uncertainty. Imagine watching a movie, but every 5 minutes, someone pauses it before revealing what happens next. You'd probably become frustrated. Your brain works exactly the same way. Psychologists have discovered that uncertainty is one of the biggest triggers for anxiety. Your brain prefers a painful truth over an unanswered question because unanswered questions require energy. Every missing piece becomes something your brain desperately wants to solve. Now, think about texting. A conversation is full of uncertainty. You can't hear their voice. You can't see their face. You don't know if they're smiling or upset or simply busy making coffee. Your brain hates those empty spaces, so it fills them. Unfortunately, it usually fills them with worst-case scenarios. That's why a simple "sure" can suddenly sound cold. A delayed response feels like rejection. And a missing emoji somehow becomes evidence that the relationship is falling apart. None of those conclusions came from reality. They came from your brain trying to eliminate uncertainty. The more emotionally important someone is, the stronger this effect becomes. There's another system working behind the scenes. Your brain isn't just reading words, it's predicting danger. Thousands of years ago, humans survived by staying connected to their group. Being rejected could literally mean death. So evolution built an incredibly sensitive alarm system. Even today, your brain often interprets social uncertainty as physical danger. Researchers have found that social rejection activates many of the same brain regions involved in physical pain. That's why being left on red can actually hurt. Not because a text message is dangerous, but because your brain believes social disconnection might be. So when someone doesn't reply, your mind immediately starts searching for explanations. Maybe they're losing interest. Maybe they found someone else. Maybe they're upset. The brain would rather imagine a painful answer than accept not knowing. Ironically, the longer you think, the more convinced you become that your imagined story is true. Now, something even more interesting happens. You check your phone. Nothing. 5 minutes later, you check again. Still nothing. 10 minutes later, again. Each time you check, your brain expects relief. Maybe they've replied this time. That tiny possibility releases dopamine. It's the same reward system involved in gambling. Most of the time, there's no message. But occasionally, there is. That unpredictable reward trains your brain to keep checking. Before long, you're no longer checking because you need information. You're checking because your brain has learned to crave the possibility. Meanwhile, your thoughts become louder. What if they don't care? What if I sounded desperate? What if I should send another message? Every new thought creates more anxiety. More anxiety makes you check again. Checking creates temporary relief. Temporary relief teaches your brain to repeat the behavior. And without realizing it, you've built an anxiety loop. Not because texting is addictive, but because uncertainty is. Have you ever noticed that two people can receive the exact same text and react completely differently? One person shrugs and moves on. The other spends the next 6 hours analyzing punctuation. The difference often comes from attachment style. If you grew up feeling that love was sometimes unpredictable, your brain may have learned to constantly monitor relationships for signs of danger. Not because you're weak, but because your nervous system became highly sensitive. This is often called an anxious attachment pattern. People with this pattern don't simply want reassurance. Their brain constantly scans for possible rejection. Every delayed reply becomes evidence. Every short message feels meaningful. Every silence becomes a question. The difficult part is, the more reassurance they seek, the more anxious they often become. Because reassurance never lasts forever. Soon enough, another text arrives. Another delay happens, and the cycle begins again. Here's the surprising truth. The goal isn't to stop caring. The goal is to become comfortable with uncertainty. Instead of asking, "What are they thinking?" try asking, "What evidence do I actually have?" Separate facts from assumptions. Fact: they replied 3 hours later. Assumption: they secretly hate me. Those aren't the same thing. Next, notice when your hand reaches for your phone automatically. Pause. Take one slow breath. Ask yourself, am I looking for information or relief? Most of the time, it's relief. And relief obtained by checking rarely lasts. The more you practice tolerating uncertainty, the quieter your brain becomes. Not overnight, but gradually. Healthy relationships aren't built by decoding every message. They're built through trust. Trust in the other person, and trust that your imagination isn't always telling the truth. The next time your phone lights up, remember this. You aren't just reading a message. You're also reading the stories your brain creates around it. Sometimes those stories are accurate, but often they're simply fear wearing the mask of certainty. And once you learn to recognize the difference, one text message no longer has the power to control your entire day. If this video helped you understand your own mind a little better, consider subscribing to Synaptic, because every week we explore the hidden psychology behind thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that shape our everyday lives. And until the next video, stay curious about your mind.